sec.
He gonna be on for 5
Oh, is
minutes,
that
so it's
Ev?
all good. We better get it.
You know it. Hey, you know this.
Ev gonna be on for 2 seconds. Like, hey, it's my pick. All right, y'all, I'm out.
No, wait, hold on. Okay, hello. My audio is messing up, so like I don't know. It's cutting out, like it's super choppy. So
you sound good, so you should be straight.
You're fine with us.
Yeah, you should be straight. All right, y'all ready to rock?
Well, I can't really hear you, but anyways, okay.
What's the show about again?
So we looking at what makes the album.
Yeah, I know.
Like I didn't just talk to you an hour ago on the phone, but
I was doing a lot.
All right, I understand. Just basically how people look at record sales and awards sometimes to dictate if an album is dope or not.
That's right. Okay. And our five top like good albums, not classic joints.
Yeah, it don't have to be classic. Like I tried to stay away from the Cuban Links.
Yeah, so did I. I tried to stay away from classics.
Yeah, just 5 good albums that I enjoy, and then just why we enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
All right, let's rock. What's good? Y'all tune to Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. As always, ladies first. Porsche, what's good?
How's it going, Kill?
Everything is everything. Miss, what's good with you?
Not a whole lot. I'm chilling.
Right.
I'm just chilling.
I got my brother Vern from the ATL. What's going on, good brother?
Glad to be here. What's up, everybody? Yes, sir.
You already know what it is. Ev, I can't keep up. Brussels, East Coast, West Coast, New York, down.
I'm in the sticks in New York right now. I mean, like the sticks. I'm upstate. Like, okay. I don't know where I'm at. I know it's dark outside. I know it's real dark outside. So, yeah, I'm good, though.
All right, no doubt. And I got my man Jake out of Boston sitting in at the right time. We about to get the Celtics Sixers thing popping again. Yeah, we had Horford, the only person who could shut down Embiid. Hey, if you can't beat him, John, we had to bring him over to our side, bro.
But what's going on, man? Elton Brand is like killing it.
Hey, we shall see if we can get this chip. But y'all know me. Let's jump right into it. Porsche, break down what this show is about this week.
Okay, so I was on Twitter last week sometime, and I posted some album, and I said, it's dope. We were talking about whether it's a classic or not. And I said, you know what, it's a dope album, but it's just not a classic for me. And then the person hits me back with, if it's not a classic, then how come it won a Grammy? And then I was like, well, that's not a measure for me at all. Album sales, Grammy awards, charting, chart placements, that kind of thing is absolutely not a metric for me for anything that I like. So that's how it came about. So what albums are dope, and what metric do you use, and why is the debating point of a Grammy award or any award, chart placement, or anything like that, why is that a weak argument?
All right, no doubt. Sounds like a dope show to me. Ev, we know you gotta be in and out, time changes, all that stuff. So we're gonna start with you.
Let's go.
Ev, give me an album that you enjoy. Doesn't have to be a classic, can just be dope. Give me an album and break down what made this album enjoyable to you. We're gonna talk about record sales and awards and all that, but I want to get through a couple of albums first. So Ev, give me one of your joints, man.
All right, my first joint is Organized Confusion, Equinox. I feel like it was an incredible album. I don't know if it's deemed as a classic. I don't know if I can even deem it as a classic, but I deem it as it was something that was influential for me in my life. So all the albums I'm thinking about are stuff that was influential for me at a point in time in my life. The thing I like about this album is it was a themed album, which I'm not usually too crazy about. And I ain't gonna say it was the clearest theme. I feel like at the end it got a little confusing, but still it didn't matter. Like the subject matter and how they ran through that album, I felt like was like impeccable. I don't feel like Organized gets enough credit for that album. That album was amazing. I had the chance to talk to Prince Paul about it. I think I met Pharrell one time. We had a quick conversation about the joint, but nothing crazy like that. But I feel like that album, some of the things that are in there, some of the things that was written, some of those songs, the Vitro being one, was just like unparalleled. I feel like the writing was on top notch. The subject matter was just very much relatable, even if because it was a story. And a lot of times, people don't really get into stories. But that particular one was really, really, really done well. And I just salute Organized Confusion for that. That was the last album they did together too. So for that to be the last one, to me, I don't say they went out with a bang because I don't consider them broken up. But for that being their last project, I feel like it was like definitely worthy.
Tell me this, good brother, because you bring up a good point. You don't look at Organized Confusion as broken up.
I don't actually. Weirdly enough, I don't.
But here's the thing. Why? Because that album dropped in 1997. Mm-hmm. It's 2019. It's been 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm.
Do we need the memo to say do we need to see the source ad? Like, yo, Organized is done.
I feel like they would have to say, hey, we're broken up. Because to me, I see Organized as like, it's like artists. It's like art. You know what I mean? Art, there is necessarily no time span. You can have two artists and not do anything for 20 years and get back and do something together 20 years later and still be good. I think we have a different standard when it comes to music, or it comes to hip hop in particular, that doesn't necessarily go across the board. And I feel like we're a little too strong on some of our ideas around that. I feel like if Organized did an album next year, cats wouldn't be like, oh, they got back together. They'd be like, oh, it's an Organized album coming out. That's how I would look at it. All so until like either one of them says like, yo, we're broken up and it is what it is, to me, they're not broken up, because not every project, I shouldn't say that. You still find them doing stuff. They still did, I know it's been a couple of years since they did that Marco Polo joint, but they still popped up and did the Marco Polo joint a couple years back. Prince Po put out an album, and Pharoah was on that album. So to me, if it's not like, yo, I don't fuck with dude and I don't fuck with dude, or we just need to go our own separate ways, then I don't consider that as a breakup. I consider it as like, yo, you're doing, as an artist, you're doing your thing, they're doing their thing. Maybe this thing will come back around again for us to put out another record. So until that time, it is what it is. This is our last project together, but it doesn't mean that we may never do another one again. Because to me, when you break up, that's it. I don't expect you to do another album. Don't come back together later. If you told me that you're broken up, don't come back together later and tell me that, oh, we're back together and we're doing it again.
But hip hop, we got to come back together, because now your kids are in college and my kids are in college and we need this check. So
but it's still, that's when money, when money comes into play, people come back together because of finances, and I get it. But if you made a note to say to the world that you're broken up, that means 9 times out of 10, there's some creative differences involved. And once creative differences get involved, it's hard to get past that point. It's one thing was like, yo, I kind of got this thing. I want to do my own thing for a while, but we're not beefing. It's not creative differences. I want to kind of like just go on this journey. So for that, I kind of give it a pass. And maybe just me giving it a pass.
You know what? We got to do a show on this, because now I'm intrigued. Now I'm sitting here thinking like, what group broke up? Because Brand Nubians got back together, and that was definite beef. Because
they said it was a break. That was a beef. That was a break.
That was a beef. You got Large Professor now doing reunion shows with Main Source. He said, "Fuck them two DJs." So you know what I mean? Like, so I'm just trying to figure out like and again, like we said, it's all different for different people, and everybody's different. But I think for me, like, and I feel what you're saying. Like, if it wasn't no beef, because I'm like EPMD got back together. And Parish, Eric got him robbed. Like, so
that was beef. They had beef. I'm trying to think of somebody that didn't have beef. And as I just go through my mind, I mean, it's somebody on this planet, please help me, because I'm trying to think, was there anybody that kind of didn't have beef, but they stopped making music for a while?
Das EFX.
I mean, Outkast never had a formal breakup. You know what I mean? It was
the only reason I didn't say them because they haven't made new music.
Outkast as a broken up group, honestly.
Yeah,
I feel like if they got back together and did an album, it's not like, oh, they reconcile their differences. It's just like, oh, Outkast is doing another album. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, it may be a hip hop, because I think if me and you was hanging out for 22 years and you hadn't seen Tanya for 22 years, somewhere in your mind you're gonna be like, damn, Kill and Tanya must have broke up.
That doesn't, just because they're not doing music together doesn't mean they don't see each other. Because I still feel like Dre still sees Big Boy as something.
Yeah, he went to his son's graduation.
I mean, that's his son's graduation. Like, if you can tell me you seen Big Boy and them down at Ben's Chili Bowl or something like that. Like, and again, like, I don't want to belabor this. This is gonna be a whole other show. Because thank you for coming, because now we got.
That's what he do.
I gotta ask everybody. So everybody start thinking about hip hop groups that didn't break up but may get back together. I don't even know what the question was. Jay, give me one of your joints, an album that you loved and why.
There's an album from People Under the Stairs. It's called OST, and it came to mind when I was talking about dope albums because it actually I heard a song came up randomly on a mix on Spotify at the gym, and I was like, "Wow!" I completely forgot about this album. Perfect for discussion because I don't consider it a classic on any level. It's just a really solid hip hop album. It's good. Like I know just a lot of different types of people that like it. It's fun. It reminds me of like hanging out, drinking beers, making beats, and being with my friends. And it brings you back to a time, you know, when you maybe first caught it, when you first listened to it. So that's my joint right there. People Under the Stairs.
All right, no doubt. Dope reasons too. DJ Rec One, what's going on, good brother?
What's going on, everybody?
All right, give me one of your albums. Which one of the albums that you think is dope and why? What are some of the reasons it spoke to you?
I'm gonna go with the Magnificent DJ Jazzy Jeff. I didn't know what to expect on the album, first of all, but I saw it was cats on the album that I had heard of, but just hadn't heard anything about it. But the album is dope, man. And it came out at a time where music was kind of trying to find itself. It seems like hip hop was in I don't want to say like a middle passage, but you can see it was shifting. And this had a dope vibe to it for me, man. Took a few trips in and out the country with this album, so it stayed with me for a long time. I still play it every now and then to this day, man.
Yeah, very dope album. I never thought in a million years Sean Stockman from Boys to Men, hip hop song, that's dope as hell.
Yeah,
like, you would have said Sean Stockman featuring Sean Stockman. That probably would have been enough to make me not.
Right. That's one of the things that kind of had me on the album. I saw that, and then I saw Jill Scott on the album, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this joint a shot because I didn't know what to expect. It's his first, official release, but the album is dope, man. The album is dope.
Very, very dope. This is a time when BBE, a label over in London, was doing all these instrumental series, and Dilla, that's what Welcome to Detroit was on. That was with the first piece instrumentals. All that stuff was BBE, so it was definitely dope to see Jeff do that. Porsche, what's one of yours, miss?
I've got Graduation by Kanye West. And for me, I know a lot of people consider that album a classic. For me, it's not. But it's the last album that I loved of Kanye's. After that, it was just downhill for me, except for My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was okay. But Graduation, I liked. I kind of got it. It's just the reason why it's a dope album to me and not a classic is because there's too many songs that I skip on it, but the songs that I don't skip are enough to be memorable for me and still keep me going back. So I'm okay with skipping the joints that I don't like, so that I can hear the joints that I do like, if that makes sense. And I went to Kanye's concert when he was touring for that album, and the energy on those songs that I do like is phenomenal. And I think that capturing sort of a point in time really plays in this choice for me, because I remember that concert. It was one of my favorite concerts. Kanye was great. And yeah, I mean, and I think it's a good album. It's solid, even though I skipped like 5 of the tracks. So.
No doubt. Speaking of Kanye, are you looking forward to the Jesus album?
Sorry, did you just ask me if I'm looking forward to this new release?
Well, I'm not throwing shots. I'm saying
that's a shot. I know you know.
Shot at Kanye. Yeah, you looking forward to Kanye release? Nah.
I take that as a no.
What would you?
Next question.
I'm not looking forward to Kanye.
Next question. All right, Vern, which one of yours, good brother?
All right, man. I'm sitting over here having an internal war with myself over this first album I'm about to name. I thank Jake for saying that the album was fun, and that's one of the sole reasons why this album is pure debauchery. And I'm starting with the year '88. I'm 11th grade, man. Too Short's Born to Mac, man. I'm a teenage knucklehead. Life is Too Short is bumping. I ain't tripping, it's bumping. I listened to cuss words today and I blushed, man. I'm like, man, I used to listen to this. That is the foulest. But at the time, it did it for me. City of Dope, Oakland. I had a Ford Escort, 84 Ford Escort with louvers on the back. I had a house speaker in the hatch. And man, when cuss words, boom, 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 I remember that the louvers rattling. So y'all gonna have to forgive me. I apologize. It's the last ignorant album I'm gonna name, but On the Mat by Too Short is my first one, man.
That's funny. Hey, here's a funny tidbit moment. I have never heard a Too Short album a day in my life. Listen to a Too Short album. First album I'm gonna go with Commons, Like Water for Chocolate. I think the first thing for me, coming off of One Day It All Makes Sense, which is my fave Com album. I was, hype as hell for the next joint. It was kind of salty he wasn't with No ID because I really loved the energy that those two had together. But as soon as I heard Dilla was producing this, it kind of got over that No ID real quick, fast, in a hurry. And for me on this, it's funny doing this, like the 5 albums I have, some of them have the same things, like lyrics and beats are always going to be there. But then kind of like the other things kind of change from time to time with each album. So one of the things I loved about this album was the storytelling, like Payback is a grandmother. Like I always loved Com's stories and like coming off of Stolen Moments off of One Day It'll All Make Sense. Like I thought Payback was a grandmother, was dope. Of course, I felt like Com was like I don't even know if he was at his lyrical peak. I felt like Com is, I don't know what Com album I would say is like Com at his lyrical best. Like what would y'all say? Like real quick, like
One Day Resurrection.
Resurrection, yeah, lyrical, yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Resurrection, but from a lyrical standpoint, he did his thing on Like Water for Chocolate.
All right. So y'all got. Yeah. See, Resurrection, like for me, it would either probably be like For Water for Chocolate or B. Like I don't.
Yeah. See, he's coming off his common sense.
This is my favorite album, but
he was hot on One Day It All Makes Sense too. He came with song.
Yeah, this is my favorite album, but lyrically, I think Common on the first one, well, not the first one, the second one, he was really just spitting.
Yeah, he went in.
I think he had better lines on One Day It All Makes Sense, though. To me, I thought the lines were more thoughtful.
Yes, some good lines. He did.
More simple, and when you go back to it, it's like, wow, this is really smart and really, really dope and really smart at the same time. It's not like, wow, like Backpacker, Crazy Cypher, battle raps. Is smart.
Yeah. And it's buck because that kind of, it's also a testament of just how we all listen to music differently. You know what I mean? Like being at your lyrical apex for one person may be just bars, For me, I like One Day It All Makes Sense because it was like he's talking about abortion. He's talking about like grown-up issues, but then he's still getting on a joint with Cannabis and going neck and neck with, at that time, one of the dopest rappers in the game. But so I love the lyrics on this, JD on the beats. I love the storytelling, the concepts, like with the light, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, like making a song that what I've heard people, have played at their weddings and everything like that. So for me, this was just a very dope album and definitely me loving One Day It'll All Make Sense. It was like, yo, I don't know if he can top this. And even though I don't think this topped this, I feel like it's right there with it. And of course, I know a lot of people who feel like this is much better than One Day. But that's it for me. Ev, what's another joint for you, good brother?
The next one I'm going to bring out, I think I'm gonna go out west for a second. Alcoholics, 21 and over. Man, this was one of them headphone masterpiece albums. When I'm bringing you back, I was in high school. You constantly on the bus or on the train, and you need that traveling music. And that's during the Walkman era. Everybody had the Walkman and the auto play, auto reverse thing. And that was the one tape that I rocked till the shit I think it just literally popped on me at one point. But that album was so dope. The beats was so banging. I don't think King C gets enough credit for his production. I think he's kind of a bit underrated. And then the licks, they just came with it, man. It was just a really solid, dope album. It was to me, when we talk about bangers, that was a banger. No matter what side of the country you're on, that album was like, it was boom bap. It was a banger. So Alcoholics, 21 and over.
Yeah, the funny thing about that album that I always remember, man, it was like it came out, I got my hands on it around the time of the Greek picnic in Philly. And it was crazy because it was like, yo, at the end of the week, it was like, yo, I don't believe from Friday to Sunday we rode around listening to a West Coast album. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't no beef with the West Coast, but it was just like, damn, we thought we would have been banging this or banging that.
Yeah,
you know, that joint went in and just never came out for the whole entire weekend. So I definitely feel you on that one. Jake, what's another one for you, man?
So I got somewhat of a new album. This dude Nems. I don't know if you heard of Nems. I don't need to get into his backstory. He got an album out, full album called Gorilla Monsoon, and it's produced. It sounds like it was produced in 1994 by Easy Mo B, and it's just straight battle rap, just ignorant diss track after diss track, which I can listen to. I've listened to the whole album straight through over the summer at least 10 times, and I haven't got sick of it. And I've been showing other people, and they're getting into it. So, you know, getting back to like the structure of a good album, it's got an intro, it's got some interludes, and it has this whole piece at the end where him and the producer are talking about how they hooked up and everything. And I thought, you know, I'm like, what? I was in my headphone. Like, what is this? I was like doing some work at Starbucks. Like, what is this? I'm looking for. This is just the end of the album. They just got into the whole story, and it just brought the whole thing together. Another thing I'll say that makes the album good, or any album, is that the artists get a little bit introspective. To me, that's, you know, they might get a little taste of who they actually are. Because a lot of times, which is why I always thought like Prodigy was dope, right? Because Prodigy was talking about everything, you know, that was going on with him, with people and everything. So, yeah, the album's called Gorilla Monsoon by Nems. Check it out.
All right, no doubt. Rec, what you got?
Man, I'm going with Group Home, man. Suspended in Time.
That's
Love that.
classic, though.
Nah, man. For me, I don't. It's not. It's not.
You saying it could be classics or whatever.
It's not so. It's not so much a classic for me in the sense where people will say, you know, it's a classic. You know, like 99% of the people won't put that as a classic until you start being specific about the way the album is put together. That album for me, man. I listen to albums a little bit differently. I listen to beats first, and then the lyrics will come second. And I listened to that album so much, like Ev said, my tape popped. And then the second tape I bought fell out my Walkman and fell into a sewer. So it just tells you how much I listened to that album. Yeah, I love that album. I could care what people say from the lyrical standpoint. To me, that album is just one of my favorites. It's a dope album to me.
No doubt.
People diss those rappers a lot, right? They diss them a lot. But if you're a DJ, you are, and you hear almost every little thing that Nutcracker says on that, you could cut up as a hook.
That's correct.
Almost every.
And that's what,
you know,
like that, and that's how I hear it. The same way you said it. Like that's just how I hear it. I hear it how I might mess around with it on the turntables. You know,
right.
I don't listen to it from just a regular listener standpoint. I listen to it to see, okay, well, what can I do? Can I back double this? Can I, you know, scratch on this? Can I do that? I listen to it to see what I'm gonna do to it. And to me, that's just one of my favorite albums.
All right, no doubt. Porsche, what about you, miss?
I got J. Cole's 2014 Forest Hill Drive as my next one. Again, I know that Cole's fan base is like classic. I don't. Cole is like hit and miss for me. I know I'm in the minority, but this particular album I think is a great concept album. I find it to be quite like Cole did a really good job at taking the listener through a journey of, you know, like his, and I enjoyed it. What I kind of don't like and where it comes up a little short for me is I'm not a fan of the singing. I like Cole as a rhymer, like as his delivery is great on this. I like the lyrical content, but the singing is just a miss for me. So I think it sounds great. It's put together really well. I really like the sequencing of tracks, but I could do without some of them. But at the end of the day, this is a very, very dope, solid project, and I do go back to it. So I have to shout out Cole for that one.
All right, no doubt. Vern, what about you?
Freshman year at Georgia State University, predominantly white college, to the East Blackwoods, X-Clan. Funk and Lesson, Grand Verbalizing, What Time Is It? A Day of Outrage. The list goes on and on, man. Brother Jay he doesn't get mentioned. That dude is one of the most enunciating rappers I've ever heard in my life. He speaks so clearly. You hear what he has to say. And at the time, Black nationalism, empowerment is one of the reasons why it's a personal favorite / classic of mine. So I'm going to the East Blackwoods X Clan.
Dope album.
Yeah, very dope album. Very dope album. I'm gonna go with Camp Lo, Uptown Saturday Night. One of my favorite albums ever. Literally, this is so strange. This is probably the only 5 mic album. Now I give it 5 mics, and there are 3 songs on here I can't stand. Like literally, I skip over 3 songs in a row. Like wow. What is it? Say Word, Negro League, and Nicky Barnes. So I don't even know what they sound like. But the stuff that was on here was so incredible for me. For this, it was the originality of these dudes. You know what I mean? Like the first time I heard Cooley High, and it was like, yo, they sampled Janet. Like, okay, that's dope. You know what I mean? And then coming back and hearing Lucchini for the first time at EAA at Morgan, it was like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And at this time, I think the album dropped in 96, but I mean, Camp Lo had been out since like 94, putting out 12 inches. And at that time, Ski Beats was one of the dopest producers walking the planet Earth. So to me, anything Ski did was crazy. Their flows were just so dope. You know what I mean? The crazy way how Geechee sounded like, I don't even know which one, Sonny Chiba, Geechee Square, I don't know which one is which, but how one of them sounded just like Ish from Diggable Planets. And then I thought it was even dope to have Ish on a song with them. You know what I mean? That made it just that much doper. And to me, this is one of the few albums that I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, but it don't matter. It don't matter.
Talking about raping children for all I know. That's what
oh my God.
I've been singing about it for 20 some odd years. So this is one of the few albums I have no idea what these fools are talking about. It's still a 5 mic album. Now let's do this. Let's go back to what Porsche was talking about originally. Let's talk about record sales and awards. Here's my thing with record sales. I believe, especially from working in radio for 9 years through what people call the golden era of the 90s, I believe record sales are important, but they're the very last thing that I usually would ever bring up in an argument. Like if I'm talking about Outkast and I'm saying why I feel like Outkast is the dopest ever, the last thing I'll probably say is, and these mofos did sell 10 million records. You know what I mean? Like, because that is the point of this game. You talk to any rapper off the microphone and they're going to tell you, we want to sell records. That's the name of the game. Like, Rec, you're a recruiter. Like, you have to get people signed up for the Army. That's your job. If you are in the record industry, your job is to sell records. If you at work at Dollar America, your job is to talk to so many people every day. Their job is to sell records. The more records they sell, the more money they make. So anytime somebody tells you, I don't care about record sales, best believe they lying, in my opinion.
You mean as an artist?
What happened?
You mean as an artist, if they say they don't care?
Yeah, if they don't care about record sales as an artist, then you're in the wrong game. You might as well just give your music away and just play for your boys in the backseat of your car or on the stoop outside, because that's the job, is to sell records. People are not on Twitter all day promoting their music because they ain't got shit else to do. They need some streams. They want people to buy it. They want people to download it. So I believe record sales are important, in my opinion. I don't believe they are the be-all to end-all. And also from working at labels and interning there, I also know that record sales can be purchased, and I also know that awards can be purchased. So for me, I've never put a lot of oomph on awards either. Again, it may come in last. I may say, and y'all do know Outkast won Album of the Year, not just Rap Group of the Year, but Album of the Year. But for me, both of those things are like the last thing on my list. And if I bring them up, I very seldomly do, but I do think that it does hold weight. It just makes it that much doper for you. Like, I think I'm an incredibly dope person in the community and everything, in the hood and everything like that. If somebody wants to give me an award for that, I will take it, but I don't need it because I know myself what I'm doing is dope. So that's my take on record sales and awards. I've never been one to be like, oh, y'all should like this album because it went double platinum, or you should like this movie because it won an Oscar, or anything like that. That's just me. Ev, what about you, man? How do you feel about record sales? Because sometimes I feel like as hip hoppers and and backpackers and boom bappers, we're supposed to be like, fuck the record sales. And I'm like, no, we're really not. You really aren't supposed to be, because I'll never forget, there was an interview in The Source back in 94, and they was talking to Q-Tip. And Tip, this Midnight Marauders just came out. So you're talking about Tribe at the highest height of Tribe Called Quest. To me, they're one of the dopest groups in the world, not just hip hop, but groups period in the world. And they were saying how Tip had to make a decision, either move out of his mother's house or buy a 3.25 BMW. And he bought the 3.25 BMW. So you have the front man of one of the biggest groups in the world still sleeping in a twin bed in his sister room in Queens. So you can't tell me that Tip wouldn't have really wanted, you know, not just a better record contract, but possibly for them to have sold more records. So Ed, what do you think?
Well, I will have to say, honestly, I have to disagree with you a little bit when it comes to the artist perspective of what they should be doing when they get into the industry. As far as like the importance of record sales. Now, I say there's two sides. Knowing some people who are independent artists who were signed to major labels or labels that are owned by major labels, record sales are important because it's how they're going. You know, it's the way for them to put food on their table, to feed their family, to keep their bills paid, and things like that. But I also have to look at, there's a lecture that KRS-One did for Temple back in the 90s, I think. And he did this lecture at Temple, and in his lecture, he talks about, you know, if you're in this industry and you're looking to have your music pay your bills, find another way to pay your bills. His whole thing was like, don't rely on this industry to feed your family, because it's not going to do that. And what happens is you wind up having to change the type of music that you want to do in order to sell more records. So you're basically not doing the art that you actually were sent to do. You're doing one that's actually more palatable or more marketable. So I have to always look at those two things when it comes to record sales, because I think it depends on the person. It depends on how they come into the situation. As far as the artist, it depends on what the rest of their income, what their supplemental income is about. You know, if you got a bunch of real estate jumping off, you don't necessarily have to depend on record sales. You can just make music that you like making. And I think at times we forget that, you know, it's still an art form. There's, you know, we talk, music is definitely about dollars and cents, but at the end of the day, it's still an art form. So not to say one is better than the other, but I always have to look at both of those sides. For me personally, when it comes to listening, the last thing I think about is the last thing I'm influenced by is record sales, of course. Like, I'm influenced more by my peers. So somebody on this panel was like, yo, check out this joint, this shit is dope. I'm gonna check it out off of that. If I see that, you know, a certain album has, you know, went triple platinum, it's not gonna push me to go listen to it. You know, it's not gonna be like, if I don't think I like the artist, I'm just not gonna pay no attention to it. And that's just me. So for me, it doesn't play a part in how I listen to music. So because of that, I don't use it when I talk about whether an album is good or bad. I never can bring up record sales, because I feel like that's kind of like, for me, if it doesn't have any weight in my personal opinion as far as what I listen to, it shouldn't have any weight when it comes to my discussion as far as what an album is or isn't. But yeah, so that's it. That's it in a nutshell. I don't want to get, you know, to start talking in a tangent, but yeah, that's it in a nutshell as far as my idea of record sales.
And see, I think to your point about Chris, I think that's, and you said this was like 95 or something?
It was a Temple lecture he did. It had to be like late 90s, early 2000s. I want to say late 90s, though, to be honest with you.
And the only reason why I say that is because I feel what Chris is saying, but at the same time, like I tell my teens every day, it's easier said than done. Like, if you're a recording artist, that's your full-time job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, I'm in the studio every day. I'm chopping beats. I'm writing rhymes. Then I'm on tour. I don't got time to flip real estate.
But you got to remember, this is Chris. This is also, he also makes a lot of money doing lectures across the country. So he actually has lived this idea that he's saying, or this statement he's made. He's actually living it. I mean, I just saw his show last year, and I will say it was, to me, an incredible performance. It's completely different than any other hip hop performance I've ever seen. But you can tell, like, he's not concerned with album sales, or even, for that matter, ticket sales, because his tickets was like $5.
Right, I feel you, but this is Chris later in his career when nobody wants to hear him rap anymore.
But
So-
I mean, it's back in the 90s. So, I mean, I just feel like he's been living this for a period of time. Not saying that it's the way to go or everybody has to do that. I'm just saying like there's other perspectives.
Right. No, and I agree with what Chris is saying as like a retirement plan. You see what I'm saying? Because after
How's the retirement plan? He's talking about this in the 90s.
because you said it was almost 2000. Nobody was checking for Chris by 2000. After I got next with a friend and Step Into a World, anybody want to name me the next KRS album after that?
When did I Got Next come out?
That was that album.
Chris
That was
Styles.
like that album. That's the one I'm talking about, Chris Styles. All right. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you're saying he did this lecture in the late 90s, early 2000s, truth be told, nobody's buying no Chris album. So
He's at his climax on that time. You're talking about late 90s. I Got Next came out. That didn't come out in mid 90s. That came out late 90s.
no, that was 96.
That was 96, 97.
That's around the time. I'm just saying, late 90s. That's around the time he did the lecture. This wasn't like 99. It was like 96, 97, maybe 98.
Oh, all right, you said 99, 2000.
That's why I said no. That's why I kind of corrected myself. I said I believe it was late 90s, if I remember correctly.
All right.
It was in the later part of the 90s.
I'm just saying that that's a good retirement plan because I don't know any artists because I feel like once you do that, you now don't have that art anymore. Like we're saying, yo, Common ain't dope no more 9 times out of 10 because he's trying to get this day job as a actor. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like that's dope for the retirement plan, but do you think you could be an MC? Like, remember when we was talking about doing a project? You was like, "Kill man, I just need 9 months just to myself, so we can make a dope album."
Most definitely.
Make a dope album if you got to focus on writing these incredibly dope rhymes. But then
I feel like you can do both. I mean, everyone here, either does right now or at some point in time has some kind of 9 to 5. You go to work every day, but yet, you're a perfect example. You still find time to make beats, to write screenplays, to shoot, to do this, to do these, to do. You've been doing this shit. I mean, since we did the Writers Bench, this is a good almost 10 years. So,
yeah, and I'm killing myself.
So I feel like if one person can do all of that, you can still make music and have something else. It depends on how much energy you want to put to what you're passionate about. But I feel like you can still just enough time in the day to do both things. You ain't got to choose one.
I feel you, bro. And I want to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I know Jake got to go soon, so I want to get Jake.
Oh, my bad.
What are your opinions? No. We gonna come back and chop it up. But what are your opinions about record sales? Like, do they influence you? Do you hear?
I don't know. My top 5 albums, I don't know what they sold.
Yep.
I don't know anything about money when it comes to things that I love. If that makes any sense, right?
That makes perfect sense.
Like hip hop changed my whole life. Like to me, it's like almost like my religion. So I don't care about money at all. Like I haven't bought an album. I don't even know how long. I can't even tell you last time I bought an album. I just stream it or I find it, or I'm not like a great person. Like I don't think you want me as a fan because I'm probably not going to buy your music. I'm just going to, I'll stream it, which, on Spotify will equal into some money, but I think they only get like $4,000 for 1 million plays or something like that.
Yeah, that's something crazy.
Yeah.
What? Like you should get 100,000 maybe? I don't know.
Hold tight. The crazy thing about streaming, and Ev, I don't know if I sent you this link. Raphael Sadiq was saying like that literally, he was like, yo, I literally just woke up one day and niggas was like, yo, your music's free. Like he was like breaking it down like that's literally like, imagine if you're Ralph Lauren and you're making all these clothes and making this money, and then one day you just wake up and you're like, no man, your clothes are free now. Like
and he's still making records. So it's like, cats is, it's record sales don't pay the bills. They never really did, actually.
Yeah, I don't think they did, but I think that was something. And like, again, I'm not going against what KRS is saying because I think it's great advice. I just think that I don't know if the younger, I've always just wondered, and this is what we used to say on the Writers Bench. Can Stevie Wonder make songs in the key of life if he's selling sunglasses, if he's doing, Rex, shut up. If he's doing, you want to
sell it. See, you are habitual.
No, let me ask you
I just caught what you said.
You could be selling them little beads in the braids, or you can be selling sunglasses. Okay, Those are the two things that we know Stevie for. He probably had a contract, but he would definitely be selling sunglasses. Let's stop acting like people would not buy Stevie Wonder sunglasses. Okay, so let's stop it. They would. We would have brought them all. We all would have gone around wearing Ray-Bans. So that's it. But the whole thing was, can Stevie Wonder make songs in the key of life if he's selling sunglasses, if he's doing a lecture tour, if he's, in an episode of what's that shit, New York Undercover.
I mean, that's a lot of other things, though, Kill. You done pulled like 8 things into the mix.
You're right. So I'm just saying, because that's how I always feel like hip-hop is downgraded because people were doing so much. Like, 50 had Vitamin Water, and he had G-Unit sneakers, and he had this. So I felt like that's what people were almost doing. What Cam was saying was, don't let rap pay your bills. You know what I mean? But there's only a certain amount of people. What are you going to say, Jake?
I was going to say, Chris was always about don't abuse the culture. You know what I mean? He's always trying to preserve the culture. And so when I would hear in those messages what like I was saying, I was getting it like, look, don't pimp this thing out. It's not meant for that. This is meant for us to express ourselves, to be to stay underground, but also make money how you need to make money without selling drugs, obviously. But you know what I mean? Like that's what I always got from Chris's message with that. What you're saying about Stevie, I totally understand where you're coming from. But Stevie Wonder he's a musical genius. Now, KRS-One's not a musical genius. He's a very gifted speaker. I walked out to a Stevie Wonder song for my wedding. I did not walk out to a Wu-Tang joint. You know what I'm saying? Like it's classic, timeless music. Hip hop's more niche than that. It's not gonna, you know what I mean? It's not gonna hit that level. Like, plus, he was making records with people buying records. You know what I mean? Like people. How many times when you put music out, your friends say, "Let me get a copy for free"? Everybody.
But you also got to understand that that's the time too. Like I remember back in the day, I remember those commercials where you could get all the 70s smooth grooves, and the thing was, nah, my brother, you got to get your own. So at the end of the day, if they had double cassette decks back in 1969, best believe people would have been dubbing the Motown tapes, but we didn't have access to even dub a tape. Now, when hip hop, we brought records. EPMD and them was going gold in 1988. That was kind of big. Gold in 88 was damn near double platinum in 95. Yeah. So we were buying records. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, I feel what Chris is saying. I agree with it 100%. I just think it's hard. And I think maybe Chris, everybody can't do that. I'll never forget this movie, Rhyme or Reason, when Tretch said something to the camera, like, if I wasn't making music right now, I'd be in your motherfucking house.
In your house, yeah.
I don't know if Tretch has the ability to now go do real estate because OPP stopped selling. You know what I mean? Like, so there are certain people who are going to be able to adapt to that. I don't know anybody who's going to buy a car from DMX right now that his career is kind of on the downside. So we also got to keep in mind every artist isn't going to be able to have a side hustle that's a legal hustle, because we do have to remember that 90% of these people back in the day, I don't know about now, everybody lying now, but back in the day, the people that was doing hip hop was coming from the streets. These were high school dropouts. They signed bad contracts because they didn't know no better. So I just think all those things we have to take in play. Again, I'm agreeing with KRS. You are 100% right. You cannot allow music to pay your bills, because yes, you will end up having to 9 times out of change. And we saw that. Look at the difference between MC Light's second album and the third album. Yeah. I don't think Light wanted to go New Jack Swing, but the label was like, no, you got to go New Jack Swing. You know?
Kill, I have to add to that too. When you make that decision, what is seen in history, when you make that decision to go as pop and go as, sell as many as you can, you burn your career off faster. So you actually lose in longevity.
Yeah,
you do, but then at the same time, do I have a lawyer to help me get out of this 5-record deal I just signed?
No, you don't, because that lawyer belongs to the label.
Right, but what I'm just saying is, again, and the hip hop I'm talking about is like late earlys. I'm talking 88 to 94 hip hop. You know what I mean? So that's like where I'm at. What I'm just saying is that, keep in mind, Q-Tip made People's Instinctives when he was 15, 16. So you're signing a record contract at 16. I work with teenagers. I can't imagine my teens picking a college at 16. So actually signing a recording contract, that's mind-blowing to me. You know what I mean? And it's why most of the artists got jerked. New Edition got jerked. People, I remember when the show
over and over again.
everybody on Twitter
Still
was like,
getting jerked.
they're so stupid. They should have read their contracts. I'm like, you mofos don't read your iOS, iPhone, do update. Y'all don't read that contract. Y'all don't know what y'all are signing. So I just think that it's, again, it's great advice, but I just don't know if everybody can kind of do that because, like you said, if Light's in the album deal for 4 albums with First Priority Atlantic, and I don't get out of it, then I have to pay the money back to the label. So now I'm at a point where I either make this New Jack City record or I try to find a way to get and pay back my record label $250,000 that as a 19, 20-year-old kid, I don't have. So now I have no choice. So I can't get mad at the artist who has to do what they got to do because they signed a horrible record contract and they owe this person 4 more albums. So again, it's a bad situation. I'm not blaming the artist by any means. I'm just saying on the flip side is this label's gonna be like, cool, you want to leave? That's no problem. Just pay us back that $350 that you owe us. And who's gonna be able to write a check for $350,000? Nobody. So you're gonna have to do that. So it almost goes back to the beginning. Maybe you shouldn't even sign a record contract then, because 9 times out of 10, in the eras of that I'm talking about, where hip hop was steadily jumping and moving, every year you didn't know what you were going to get. You had to adapt to that, not because I wanted to, but because I basically was trapped by a label to do it. So, Porsche, what you think?
Sorry, I just came in late, but the
record sales. Like, do record sales and awards, how does that factor into what you listen to or like?
Not at all. Like zero. I don't watch awards shows. I haven't watched awards shows since I want to say like late 90s. And even then it was just to see like who showed up with who and who was, gonna bombard the stage about what. And it was more about like not so much about like what album or track was gonna win. It was more about like what else is happening kind of thing. So award shows and chart placements has never been a factor for me. It's never affected. And I agree with Ev. I think he said it before I got kicked off, but like it just doesn't have a bearing whatsoever. It doesn't mean anything when I listen to music. It doesn't influence how if I'm going to check it out or not. There's music that I listen to that later on I find out has charted. There's music that never charts that I listen to. So for me, it really plays zero factor, and it annoys me to no end when people bring that up as a metric, because I'm sure you touched on it. Those things can be bought and manipulated so easily that it's just it's arbitrary. It really is so arbitrary in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't show talent by any means. It doesn't show. I mean, yeah, like that's all I can say. I don't want to get too much into it because you guys have probably talked about it, but that's just what I think.
All right. And what about you, Vern? It playing a part for you?
Absolutely zero, none. As other people have said, I don't have any idea what anything is. So I don't listen to stuff because of record sales or awards. So no, it has no bearing at all.
Right. And what about you, right?
Same thing. That's not a factor.
Right. And I think, again, let me just reiterate for me, just in case anybody heard anything different, it's not a factor for me at all either. The only reason why I knew EPMD went gold is because they said that shit. And so what you're saying. And if that's 1989, and to be honest with you, when they said, 30 days later, the LP went gold, I probably was thinking, fuck do that mean? Like that's something important.
Yeah, same here.
What that meant, and it's funny reading Rakim's book. He said something in it about Paid in Full going platinum, and I was like, damn, it did. Like, so even though an album that came out in 1988, I had no idea Paid in Full went platinum. I would have thought I wouldn't have been shocked if it didn't even go gold. So I agree with everybody. It means absolutely nothing to me at all. Jay, give me another one of your albums, man, that you think is dope and why.
Let me see here, man. I've been listening to a lot of new hip hop, man. I'm very excited about current state of hip hop. I had to write them down because what happens, I get in here with you guys and my head goes whoop, and I gotta I gotta go back to them. Oh, The Awakening, Lord Finesse. That's in my top 5 favorite albums because it is such a solid piece of hip hop. It's a lot. I think he produced everything on there. I forget. It's been a while since I checked the credits on it. It played in my car. It came out right when I got my license, so that has a lot to do with it, right? I listen to it constantly. I still listen to it now, and I get more stuff from it. This is something I wanted to talk about really quick. Everybody's a different definition of classic, right? So somebody was saying, and I'm going to do a food analogy because I like to eat a lot, but do you consider like a Twinkie a classic thing? And a lot of people say, yeah, because it's been around forever, and it's all. And my thing is that it's not. It's always been there. It tastes good, but it's nothing to it, and it tastes exactly the same every time I eat it, and it's not a big deal. But like albums like Illmatic, albums like Liquid Swords, even recently. Every time I go back to them, I find something new or I hear something differently. And same with The Awakening. It's just got this thing. It's like a buffet to go back to food. Every time I go up there, there's something new. I can do a different combination and have a different flavor. And that's how I look at classics. So, to me, that is a classic. I don't think it rated anywhere. I don't know that charted on any level. But yeah, that's just a solid piece of hip hop through and through. It flows. There's not literally any skits, but there's like little interludes that kind of keep the flow going. And I love that kind of stuff.
It's funny you said classic. Let me ask y'all a question. So we talked about record sales, awards. Did the Source's 5 mics mean anything to y'all?
Nope.
No.
To me.
It was good for reading material, but I didn't buy albums based off of it.
That's follower stuff to me.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Ev?
I would say 93, 94.
Okay, 93. And maybe let me flip this, because this panel of people, I feel like we're all on the same wavelength as far as, like, 9 times out of 10, by the time I read the Source to see a mic rating, I had already heard the album. You know what I mean? So I think that's the flip. Like, so not more so, but like, would you use in an argument? Like, if you're arguing with somebody about Illmatic, saying somebody says Illmatic's not a classic, do you ever bring up, well, the Source gave it 5 mics?
Nope.
No.
Just asking.
No. I remember when we had that argument on Twitter, somebody did.
That's like saying Boo Boo at 7-Eleven gave it 5 mics.
What you were saying, Jake?
My bad.
What you saying, Jake?
I was saying, like Ev said, like 93, 94, I feel like those ratings were legitimate. They weren't based on money. I thought
I don't think they were based on money at all.
I think after 94 they were.
I think when I'm learning with hip hop, we got to just have the parentheses. We got to have the parentheses because there was a time at the Source. There was a time in hip hop that if you worked at the Source, if you worked at a record store, if you did something with hip hop, you were a hip hop head. So I do believe that there was a time at the Source where you got regular mic ratings, which the reason for that, people go into the Source to beat people up because they didn't get 5 mics, which we done heard about Gangstar and Ice Cube and other people going up there and them eventually having to get in the Fruit of Islam to do security to stop people coming up there from beating them up. I'm sure Duck Down did not pay good money for a 3.5 mic for that Smith & Wesson album. You know what I mean? So there were times when I believe that mics could have been brought. Now, yes, by the time and even before Little Kim got 5 mics for whatever album that was, the Notorious K.I.M., yes, the Source was on the tape. They were on the tape.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about like it's become that. It wasn't always that, but
it wasn't always that. But eventually, I feel like there's no people who work. I always tell the story of by the time I guess it's 96, I went to Sam Goody and the gallery, and I asked for MOP's album, and the girl was like, Mop doesn't have an album now. You know what I mean? And it just showed me that there was a time I used to go to Sound of Germantown and the Sound of Market, and you could talk to the DJs. You could have in-depth, good hip-hop conversations about these records, and then somewhere along the line, it just was like, oh, we just hiring anybody who can just, punch numbers on a register and don't know nothing about it. You know what I mean? So that's the wild part. Vern, what's another joint for you, man?
1991, Fruits of Nature, UMCs.
Yeah.
That is one of my personal classics. Just a feel good, great album. College out in the world, free, hanging out in UGA in Athens, keg parties, blue cheese, one to grow on, anyone the wind blows, never, never land, gonna last. I mean, the skill, ping pong flow of Kool Kim and Haas G. The videos were dope. Like the way they dressed. Gave me a touch of flavor of New York in a sense or whatever, and I kind of could relate to them because they were just like regular dudes, man, who like to spit, man. So Fruits of Nature, UMCs.
Yeah,
that's a dope album.
Definitely a dope pick. Very slept on album. What's another one of yours, good brother?
I'm gonna take a passage from Jake, man. Go a little bit later. I realize everything that I'm pulling is way back. I'm gonna come a little early. I'm gonna say Fonte, No News is Good News.
Yeah, I had that. Good one.
Stupid album. May not be a classic, but it's a really good fucking album. It's big boy music. I put my big boy drawers on. I put my real jeans on, not the skinny joints. I can feel good about being a grown up. You know what I'm saying? So, I really like Fonte because one, he's an MC. Like he is, which I really tip my hat to. He's an MC that can talk about his life today in reality. Like, I am divorced. This is, I'm remarried. I deal with marriage situations. I deal with family situations. I deal with life situations, music situations, and he can put all that into his work. And his penmanship is unparalleled. That cat is ridiculous.
Stupid.
Right. Ridiculous.
Stupid.
I feel like No News is Good News. It's just an excellent piece of work.
It is.
I agree 100%. It's 5 mics to me. But let me ask y'all this. Do you think, like Eb, what you were saying about, the fact that he's able to do all that, do you think that's because he never boxed himself in? Like, somebody was asking me the other day, like when I was like, yo, I stopped listening to Prodigy. I think it was the Alchemist album. It was a song about, he was like, yo, dude owed me money, but he just picked his daughter up from school. Yo, I'm gonna go kill him in front of his daughter. I don't care. After that, I was done with P. I'm like, dog, I got Naomi in the back seat. You know what I mean? I just dropped my daughter off. You talking about killing people's daughters. Now, I've heard since that album, like, he began to grow and talk about other things. I don't know, because I was like done at that point. But I felt like there are people who are just almost like you do in the acting world. You become typecasted. You know what I mean? Like, Fonte, I felt like never really typecasted himself. You know what I mean? So he's able to do that. Like, would you want Redman talking about taking his daughter to school and getting divorced? Like, do you want Red or?
I mean, actually, to be honest with you, I do.
I would be interested in.
I would like to hear it from his perspective. I don't feel like an MC can really typecast himself. I feel like every time you put that pen to paper, you determine what comes out. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I feel like, I wish Redman would give me some shit about. I mean, I feel like Redman kind of does too, though. I feel like he kind of does that here and there. Like, he'll give you a little bit of his life today. In some of his work, not a whole lot, but I think my problem is when they try to hold on to their life in the past, like, because you can hear it. It's like, that don't even sound real. It don't even sound like you really, like, that's genuine. It don't sound like you really mean that. So stop trying to hold on to that. Bring all that craftsmanship, all that artistry, all that thing that makes you lyrical. Bring that and talk about today's perspectives. I'm like, I would rather hear that a Redman album about his life today or what's happening today from his perspective. Same thing with GZA. All the cats that I really dig, I wouldn't mind. I would love to hear, because the only thing that's different is their perspective, is how they view it, what their perception is. I would love it.
I think the reason why Fonte is one of my all-time favorites is because he's always been an everyman. Mm-hmm. I really gravitate towards MCs who I relate to. I ain't no killer. I ain't no dope dealer. I ain't no thug. So that's why I've always been Heavy D, Native Tongues, PE, and stuff like that. Because I know killers.
Exactly.
I know killers. I grew up around them. Yeah. And so I didn't want to be that.
Like that. They don't.
Right. All that rah stuff. So I didn't believe you even then. So I think the reason why Fonte is winning on the level that he's winning is because they're, like he said it a long time ago, there's more dudes with 9-to-5 jobs than there is selling drugs. Exactly. Contrary to what hip hop would make you believe, most people ain't doing that. It's I don't even know if I want to go here. Okay, Something
I give you the keys to the car. Go.
Something happened yesterday. The verdict yesterday, and I get it, but people acting like you ain't finna go shoot up the courtroom. You're not gonna do that. You ain't finna go do all this. So stop fronting on Twitter like y'all gonna go kill Zimmerman if you so hard. You know what I'm saying? So you're not. So shut up with that, and let's show our humanity. Most of us are human. We ain't killers. That's why it's a small minority, and that's a tangent. And I'm sorry, but I felt passionate about that. But those are the MCs that I relate to, real MCs.
Now let me play devil's advocate here, and it's not really devil's advocate; it's Kill's advocate. But here's the thing: I love Pusha T. I don't want to hear nothing about Pusha T's marriage. I don't. Okay, he lives in Rockville, Maryland now. Okay, he's married. He works out at the gym. His trainer just had a spread in the Washington Post. I don't want to hear nothing about him talking about picking up my daughter from school. I'm gonna go to the gym. Me and my wife going out to Buffalo Wild Wings. I want to hear Pusha talking what Pusha talks about. Now, that may be wrong. Now, here's the thing, because I'm always now.
Oh man!
But I have a question about that.
Uh-huh.
I got a question for you about that.
Okay.
Are you listening for entertainment purposes or information purposes?
I'm listening for entertainment purposes.
Okay, so
and for the thing that, like I always say, y'all know I'm in the hood every day. So when I hear Benny the Butcher, I'm relating more with Benny the Butcher than probably I am. Like Fonte and Benny are running neck and neck with me. Because when I come home, I'm in the suburbs, I'm Fonte. During the day, I'm Nipsey Hussle. I'm in the hood every day. You know what I mean? I'm around killers and crackheads and all that stuff every day. So sometimes I believe that that's why that speaks to me a little bit more now. If I was a lawyer and never been to Southeast and ain't done, then I probably wouldn't rock with Benny the Butcher that much. But I think what I mean by people getting typecast is that I would assume the majority of Mobb Deep fans don't want to hear Prodigy talking about getting married or getting a divorce. I could be wrong. I'm just saying that I believe the majority of Pusha T fans, that if Pusha dropped the album tomorrow with absolutely no drug rap on it, nobody will want to hear that. And here's a great example. His brother Malice found Jesus, dropped 2 albums talking about Jesus.
That's a big leap, though. You talking about not selling drugs to talking about Jesus. That's a big leap.
I mean, it's a big leap, but I mean, not talking about drugs to talking about marriage, to me, that's just an equally big as a leap. Because
talking about drugs, we talk about, but it doesn't have to just be marriage. The thing is, it can just be.
I mean, you'll be right, but it could be anything. Yeah. But here's the thing: I don't know statistics. I'm sure there's a rack of Christians out. Dog, it's about 5 mega churches in Maryland alone in a 20-block radius, and I'm talking about 50 to 100,000 people every Sunday. It's a lot of Christians. So we there's enough Christians to buy some good, Christian music.
And they do. I mean, look at Eshon Burgundy. He's selling like
Eshon turned the whole thing around.
That showed me, because them Clips fans like Malice talking about drugs. Now that he's talking about something positive, whether it be marriage, whether it be God, to me, gospel rap ain't no different than talking about Allah. That's what Brand Nubians were.
But that's the thing is is that the shortcoming of ourselves? I mean, do you want to see Al Pacino do Scarface over and over and over again?
I will tell you this. What movie is everybody? Well, I won't say everybody. A lot of people hype about right now. The Irishman, another gangster flick with Pacino, De Niro.
I've seen them do that already.
That's why I said a lot of people.
But they already did that. Like, did it 3-4 times already.
But like I said, a lot of people, trust me, when this joint drops, it will be mega. And it's produced by Scorsese. So if I look at the movies that Al Pacino was in, what are probably his best movies? It's probably going to be something gangster. Carlito's Way, maybe not for you.
I mean, that's the majority of his work has been that.
No. Al Pacino has lots of other movies. Al Pacino had a little snuff movie back in the day. I think it was like Something of Love. It was like during those.
If you look,
you talking about Dog Day Afternoon,
we don't have that kind of time. But if we pull up Al Pacino's, actually his IMDb of all the movies that he's done, you're gonna find a lot of things with some violence involved.
I would beg to differ. I say that there's more stuff.
Off tape, we can.
Yeah, off tape. We'll do this. Off tape. But I'm guaranteing you, Al has been in a lot of shitty movies, because I've seen a lot.
But I'm talking about stuff that actually hit the theater. Some people that has actually hit box office. I'm not talking about independent movies that didn't go nowhere.
No,
Because
I'm talking about stuff that hit box office.
because a lot of Al Pacino fans, like the hardcore Al Pacino fans, like Al Pacino before Scarface. It was some like other shit that he was doing way back before he even got into that hardcore shit.
Oh, now we talking about a whole nother age.
I'm just bringing that up. I'm just bringing up to say.
I know what you're talking about. I'm talking about for us hip hop heads. Most of us found Al Pacino with Scarface. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't even know about De Niro with Taxi Cab Driver and all that stuff. I'm talking about our age. But you're right. It may be to a fault of our own, but I've just always wondered, do the diehard, because you got to give your fan, and this is where it may be hard as an artist. You have to give your fans what they want. If you own a burger, if you
I agree with that. I strongly disagree with that.
Let me ask you a question.
Strongly disagree.
You own a soul food spot, okay?
I'm selling chicken.
Ev's
and yams and greens.
You are Ev's chicken.
But listen, let's talk about the product. My product is.
Let me give you my example. You own a soul food place, and I'm talking about cholesterol shooting up to the sky. Soul,
right?
One of those man versus foods. Like if you can eat 20 minutes, you can eat all of this stuff. All cholesterol, heart attack food whatsoever.
Right.
You go to the doctor. Boom, you got high cholesterol. You feel bad. You come back and you change your menu.
Whole thing.
Plant-based menu. You are losing your entire fan base, correct?
So okay. This is the thing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Trying to compare.
Okay, you know me. Just answer the question first.
No, I can't. It can't because it's not actually a fair question. If I'm going to answer the question, I have to give you the whole question. You're attempting to compare selling products, selling food. We're talking about food that's a specific type of food that is geared to a specific type of demographic. That's number one.
And I'm also comparing that with gangster music that's demographic that's marketed to a specific demographic.
Say that again. That last part I didn't catch.
I'm talking about a specific type of music. I'm talking about gangster rap that was marketed.
You're saying it could never change. You're saying that it could never change. And that they need to gear to their. Let me finish. You're saying that they need to package this for a specific audience. This is what I have a problem with. That is, if you're going to do that, you cannot. Number one, that's a stupid thing to do because your audience is always going to change, and you cannot satisfy every fucking body. So if you're going to change what you decide to go in and do creatively, I'm not talking about food. Food is something different. Like you package this up for this market. So you had the market in thought before you even had the product. You already knew who you wanted. When you're talking about actual creativity and you're like, yo, I need to package this up because this is what my fans want to hear, you're doing yourself an injustice. Because number one, you're actually putting yourself in your own box. Who's to say you can't have more fans? Who's to say your fans can't change? We change. We should change. I shouldn't listen to the same shit at 19 that I'm listening to 43. Exactly. I'm supposed to shift and adjust with that. And I expect the artist to shift and adjust as well. It's my problem is, like I said before, when they attempt to do the same thing over, I don't want to see Al Pacino and Robert De Niro do a gangster movie. I could care the fuck less. Like you did Heat. Heat was good. I'm done. It's done. Give me something else. Don't keep doing the same shit because after a while, I'm gonna look at it and it's going to tell. It's just like it's
like a Madea movie.
Not genuine anymore. They don't even believe it. You don't even believe it anymore. At some point in time, Pusha T is not going to believe that he's selling coke at 58.
Nigga, he been doing it for 24 years.
Right, but
24 years.
But you said
he still got people like yourself who that shit.
Just made his
people. If Pusha T turned 58 and he put out a coke record and you call me like, yo, you hear that Pusha T shit? I'm gonna hang the fucking phone up on you.
But Kill, I think Pusha T is one.
Yo, since I graduated college, nigga, I'm 46 next year.
I think Pusha T
his best album.
He's one of the rare people.
At some point, it's like WWF. Yeah. At some point, you have to grow up and be like, that shit is not fucking real. I can't. I just, at some point, you just gotta give up.
And here's the thing, Kill. You still work in the hood, so I feel you on that.
I get that part,
bro. My nerves, dog. I listen to a lot of soul music, a lot of jazz. I don't need to hear all that.
Hear that shit?
Yeah, man. and here's the thing too. I think they do it to their detriment because, as you said, Ev, they're afraid to grow when the artists around them is growing. The same dude that was flipping birds, at 19 and 20, they're 40 now. They got legitimate business or they're kingpin, but for the most part, most people ain't kingpins. They've grown, and so I mean, think about it, Kill. What a 44-year-old dude that you see still trying to dress like a kid, skinny jeans, looks like a clown.
Yeah, Birdman.
If you had one of them cats, and where you be at, Kill, and his ass is 45, and he'd be like, "Yo, man, I got these keys coming." I know you'd be like, "Motherfucker, what's wrong with you?"
I would.
If you can say that to him, why would you listen to it?
But here's the thing, y'all, and I want me, Ev, my marriage counselor stuff. I had to write down what y'all saying. So you said, it's a tip for all marriages. If y'all beefing, don't interrupt each other. Just write down on a piece of paper.
And I just had to be a sidebar. He's a great fucking marriage counselor.
So
he's one of mine. He's good as hell. I know we go back and forth, but his ass is actually pretty damn.
So I wrote down that your audience is always changing. And I wrote a question mark next to that because I wonder, does the audience always change? Now, keep in mind, I can't speak for this because I can't ever say I was a big Redman fan. Like, I like
a big Redman. I'm still a Redman.
Yeah, so am I.
But I feel like a lot of times, and I talk about this on Twitter, sometimes because I know these three black men right here are great fathers. They are great fathers. And if this is my circle of friends, when somebody makes a statement like there are no black men with their fathers, I'm going to raise my hand like, nah, man, all my friends are good black fathers.
Mm-hmm.
But my circle isn't the world. Because when I tell people, leave your circle and come out to Southeast and find how many men you see. So a lot of times we can't just base it off of us and what our crew listens to, and that's sometimes what we do. We just look at the people around us and it's like, oh, this is the world. No, this isn't the world. This is just the 5 or 6 people who you have in your circle who are probably in your circle because y'all relate to each other. You probably ain't friends with the niggas who don't do shit with their kids and got 6 and 7 kids by 6 and 7 women. So we got to sometimes look outside of what we're doing. Ev, I know you're not a big gangster dude like that. So
No. I enjoy MOP.
No, and I didn't mean gangster like that. I didn't mean gangster like that. I mean, I know that you're not a big you're not gonna be. I'm not coming to your crib and every time I walk in, Scarface is on.
Oh yeah, no, that's not happening. Maybe Godfather, but not Scarface.
Yeah, Scarface is not a great movie to me, but
but what I'm saying is that this Irishman, I Heard You Paint Houses, is the book that the Irishman is based about. Like, bruh, the excitement for this movie is on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it is.
It's like it's Scorsese. I know what you're about to say. I know what you're about to say, that it's been done, but this is what the fans want. So when you ask your audience is always going to change, I'm wondering, are they? Because all these people are hype about basically what you're saying is another regurgitated, Heat gangster movie with the 3 main people. So this is why I question, is your audience changing? Because that's what people want. That's what people are hype about. The other word you use.
I think they do. I don't think your audience changes. I think they grow. I think you have young audiences that come into, what they become your fans. I think your audience actually does shift and change. I think sometimes your audience sticks with you.
Because I'll tell you this, I doubt there will be a lot of 25 and under people to go see The Irishman. I think it will be
coming on Netflix.
Well, it comes out in the movies first. It comes out in the movies like at the top of November, and then by the end of November, it'll be on Netflix.
Okay.
So it's only in theater, but that's a good thing. And look at that. It's only in theaters for what, less than a month?
Well, that's because it's a Netflix movie. So Netflix is trying like a new little plan to do a Netflix movie, but put it out in the theaters first and then bring it to Netflix. So this is like their guinea pig for doing it. Okay. But I highly doubt that there's anybody 35 and under at this movie. It's going to be a lot of people.
You got to realize too, this movie, it's a hard one to compare because you have, it's already the cast, and then you have Joe Pesci, who hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he retired.
He said he was retiring.
Right.
And he comes back and you got Scorsese. So you got a lot of big names. Of course, you're going to have if people are dying to see this, but
Pete,
I have a question.
But let's say this wasn't a gangster movie. Let's say it's the same cast. It's Scorsese.
I would love to see it.
Yeah,
but do you think those fans? Do you think the excitement for The Irishman would be this big?
Hell yeah! Because
even if it wasn't a gangster movie.
I don't think you need it. You don't for these names. You don't need a gangster movie.
I agree.
The names are the selling
I agree.
itself.
I disagree. I think if this movie was about three old men who grew up together, and this is the nursing home.
Why does it have to be? Why does that have to be the next thing?
I mean,
it got to be like senior citizen time.
I mean, give me another. Well, let me say this, and then Vern, what you were saying about Madea. Here's the crazy thing, bro. I'm with you. I hate those Madea movies.
Yeah,
Black folk love them, and here's the other kicker: church black folk love them.
I was gonna say it's a certain.
I have seen churches do Madea outings. Okay,
What?
So.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do Madea outings.
Yeah,
Church folk love Madea because I feel like they feel like, oh, we gonna laugh, but it ain't cursing, so we could go watch this. So it's like, let's all get together. The church will support a Tyler Perry movie in a minute, quick, fast, in a hurry. So I agree with you. I think they're stupid, but that's like his bread and butter. That's his bread and butter.
But Kill, to go back to that though.
It's none of their bread and butter.
Would you say?
Exactly. My bad, Vern.
To go back to that though. All these people that have typecast themselves as MCs, how are their sales?
Exactly.
Nope.
Probably horrible.
Probably.
So,
which I agree, which is why I'm dumbfounded that more MCs haven't tried this way, especially because now you're not tied to a label. Like,
no, I'm saying you don't change. You've been rapping about the same content since you came out. I'm 40 now. He's 36, whatever the case may be. It ain't working, but it's too late for you now.
Because you didn't did it.
Right, but here's the thing. But is it too late? But
over.
Is it too late? Like Ev said, you can always pick up the pen and write something new. So even if Redman's last album flopped, nobody brought it. Like he's still talking about weed and like he flopped and he decides, okay, for this next album, I'm giving you Reggie Noble. I'm not giving you Redman. I'm giving you Reggie Noble. You know, I don't know nowadays if we can even look at record sales because nobody sells no records no more. So you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like JR said it best. Some people don't need to keep doing music. They just need to tour. Like that's just
Frankie Beverly, man.
You know, so I believe that that's what it is. Maybe if the last Redman flop, everybody was talking about. Y'all know how I feel. Whenever it's they trying to come back when it's only built for Cuban Links 2, or it's There's a Dark Side 2. Whenever it's part 2, this is when they really trying to get their fans back because they done messed up for the past 3 albums. But if that, because what is Redman's new album supposed to be called, Rack?
I think it's Muddy Waters 2. That hasn't dropped.
Muddy Waters. We've been talking about this album for 2.5 years. Done been putting up stuff on IG. The joint hasn't dropped. If it drops and it flops, Redman should just tour. He shouldn't even.
I can agree with that as a Redman stan. I can agree with that. He should just tour because, like you said, I think at a certain point in time, Ev hit it best. You can lose some of those fans because we grow. You know, at 15, I was There's a Dark Side all day.
Oh, damn.
I'll go back to that or Muddy Waters and even the album after that. But honestly, I have not checked for new Redman albums, but I'm still a fan.
Yep.
If he comes to Houston, dog, I'm getting tickets. Same with Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang's supposed to be here in like another 2-3 weeks. I'm going. But I'm going for what made me fall in love with them. Classics, right. I'm not going for the Iron Flag album and none of that bullshit. I'm going I want to hear some 36 Chambers shit live.
Well, maybe that's the thing. And that's the whole thing is that because, like I said, Pusha's been selling dope for 22 years. Just had his most successful album. This dude is definitely making more money now than he was 22 years ago with the Clips with Pharrell.
I think he's an anomaly.
No, he is. He is. I'm in no way trying to say Pusha T is the norm. Like, I'm no way saying that. He is definitely an anomaly. I don't know how he does it or whatever. But like I said, I feel like with Jay to me is at his lyrical best, in my opinion, when he's talking street shit. That's just my opinion. Somebody may disagree. Rack, you as a DJ may say, no, I love the club shit because I know it gets the crowd moving.
I don't.
But for me, I love Jay when he's talking. When they said he gonna do American Gangster, I was like, yes.
Yeah,
But-
Kills
but-
the one
and
that got me on
here's-
that one.
But here's the thing: it's not that I like that fact that he's glorifying it. What I'm saying is that Jay actually did it. So there's a level of authenticity when Jay rhymes about that. So when Jay is rhyming about club stuff, I don't hear anything authentic. I don't
Maybe
hear.
maybe you just like guns and violence and drugs and shit. Maybe that's what it is.
Violence, man.
Could it be that? Could it be just like, yo, I like hearing motherfuckers get shot? It might just be that, yo.
Not just that. I don't want to hear.
There's nothing wrong with that. I need that every now and then.
Like my pop, he's like, yo, for me to watch a movie, you gotta have some blood in it.
Yeah, my dad's the same way. He loves action and killing flicks and all that shit. My dad's 66 years old, but he loves that shit.
But here's the wild part. But then when Mob does it, I mean, I like the music. Like, don't ever get it twisted. But I never looked at them like they authentic. Like, I never looked at them like, yo, P really be running up on niggas, you know, pulling out.
You believe Pusha is doing that though? You believe Pusha is selling drugs?
No, I don't. Which is why it's such a freaking anomaly that there's a man who's been selling me drugs for 22 years, and I know he doesn't really do it.
All right, Kill, I have another question. Now, this is
No, you was the one who told me that the grandmother was really in the game.
Yeah, she was really in the game.
I believe Pusha had
I have a question.
drugs. I don't believe.
Question. Then I have a question.
Okay.
How long did you stick with WWF?
Oh, man. I probably rocked with WWF from '83, so I'm 9.
Oh, give me age because I need to know your age.
9.
9 until what time?
Is 9 years old, probably till about 88, which is 14.
So
Because I remember distinctively trying to snuff my older cousin when he told me wrestling was fake. Like I was ready to like fight to the death.
Okay.
And you know, my dumb ass tried to swing on him and he beat the shit out of me. But yeah. So probably that time frame. So from probably 9 to probably
9th grade.
Probably 9 to not 9th grade. Probably from like 9 to probably 12, 13. I was rocking with WWF.
8th grade.
Yeah, 7th, 8th grade. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's just like maybe you like entertainment longer. You know, maybe your entertainment span is just like, yo, you like to be entertained. Maybe that's just what it is.
Push the skill level is dope.
About drugs for that long period of time because it's good entertainment. I get it.
And then, like Vern said, Pusha's skill, like to me,
And
Pusha
he's dope. Don't get me wrong. And Pusha's a dope MC.
is an incredibly dope MC. So I
That's
think
what I'm
like
saying. If Pusha gave you something else, but that's the thing is, you don't know if you would be into Pusha if he did something else because he hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
If he gave you something else with the same Pusha shit, with that same Pusha style, that same cadence, that same marksmanship with his pen, you still probably be a fan.
It would, because he's too intelligent for it not to be.
He's still dope.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I'll be
yeah.
the first to say the reason I haven't liked the Malice album has been the production. It's not
Malice. I mean, how many people really like Malice?
Malice wasn't bad.
I mean,
He was all right.
But he was talking
That's a
about
ringing endorsement, right?
yo,
He
when
was
it
talking about drugs, though. So.
I couldn't tell the two of them apart half the time. It may have just been me. I thought they were very.
And how was the production on the Malice album? Was the production banging?
I said that's the reason I didn't like it because the
Okay.
production wasn't good. So I had no problem with Malice finding God and even talking about it. I was actually intrigued and hoping he would get dope production because I feel like that's where gospel rap falls short.
Yes.
Always.
I feel like dope MCs can talk about dope shit. Like I'm not a Christian. My man is Eshawn Burger. That's my ace boom.
Man,
I got a lot of love for that cat from Philly, and I will always support him. He drops dope music out. He always has. He always has. I feel like he always will. Now that might not necessarily be my cup of tea when it comes to the religious part, but that doesn't change the fact that on track he's nasty. He's nasty. He's always been. So that's my thing.
I just
if you
think
gave me something different, you probably still be a fan of Pusha.
I think it's just about like you said, we're all individually different. It's just which shift, are you willing to make? Like Eshawn Burgundy, he's always been on that tip. You know what I mean? It's not like he was a drug dealer for the first 3 albums, found guy.
Well, back in the day, he talked.
Back in the day, he was talking about some cruddy shit.
He talked his little talk back in the day.
Okay. And again, I'm not by any means trying to say I know and know everybody. I only know Eshawn through my man who was doing beats for him, my man Dre, Street Orchestra, who was doing beats.
Right. Street Orchestra. Yeah,
Right. That's the only reason why I know.
Right.
I've never heard anybody but you bring up Eshawn Burgundy.
I'm checking for him right now. I'm about to check for him.
I have never heard one single human being bring up his name but you.
But look, iTunes, he dropped something.
Yeah, and again, I'm not
just
saying
did.
He's been chatting like crazy.
right. I'm not saying that the numbers aren't good.
That's numbers. That's not
good. I'm just saying that as far as people picking up on it, you know what I mean? So, but I agree with you. Maybe if Pusha did try to say something else outside of drugs, it would still be dope.
I think that's why I like Fonte. I like Fonte for the simple fact that he's not going to give me like I can listen to Fonte. He can give me some real life stuff. He can give me this, but he can also give you
so I murder you. God, I murder you.
Right. But here's the thing.
God,
now let me ask you a question.
And that shit is just as dirty as hearing a Pusha to me, hearing a Pusha verse.
Right. I understand what you're saying. But again, Fonte came out as the everyman MC. This has always been him. So let me ask you a question. As an MC, do you think it would be hard to make a shift with it? Like, do you think that some of these MCs are like, hey, maybe Prodigy, I hope not, but maybe he was still living in Queensbridge. You know what I mean? Maybe he still was hanging with the rah-rah dudes. Do you feel like as an MC that you would be able to change your pen game from, you know, your first 3 albums, the infamous Murder Music, Hell on Earth, to now it becoming something different? Like, do you think that's an easy switch to make? Like,
I think it's a switch that can be done. I think MCs can do it, not rappers. MCs can do it. Lyricists can definitely do it.
But my question was, is it a hard? Not that you can do it. It's almost like an actor. Like
I think it's just about changing your thought pattern. I think it's about changing what revolves inside of your psyche. I can't say whether it's hard or easy. That depends on the MC. It depends on how strong you are, how strong you've been on this idea. And if the idea wasn't a reality, you know, that's a whole nother conversation.
I mean, because I could definitely see, or I think I could see someone's pen game struggling if I'm going from, because you're going from hot to cold. I'm going from killing everybody in Queensbridge to now I'm going to open up and share with you my life. Like,
but it doesn't have to. The thing is, it doesn't have to be like, oh, now all of a sudden you got to go Drake and shit. You don't. It doesn't have to be.
I'm not saying Drake.
I'm saying it doesn't have to be like it's such a personal thing. Like I tell you about taking my kids to school.
But I'm just going off of what you all and I me too like about Fonte. We like that he's talking about how
that's Fonte. That's Fonte. I'm saying every MC doesn't have to do what Fonte's doing. But you ain't got to do the hardcore. You not even hardcore. You ain't got to do the drug. You ain't got to do the drug shit, the violent shit, the pop. This
okay, but as an MC,
you come outside of that realm. You can still. I mean, look at Jizza. Jizza ain't never talk about wrapping up no keys and selling a bunch of weight and shit like that. He'll talk about what he sees, and Jizza to me can still do that same Liquid Source album today, and I will still buy it because he's doing it from a perspective. He's doing it from like, oh, this is what I see out here.
Well, I can say this. I ain't checked for Jizza since that Beneath the Surface album. So for me, Jizza ain't been hitting for the last 20 years.
That's not the reason why I'm bringing him up. I'm bringing him up to say like
and even the verse he did on that Rhapsody shit was whack to me. You know what I mean?
Nah, son.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Nah. Oh, that's okay. All right, we have a difference of opinion.
That's cool. But what I'm saying is that I'm just wondering, Vern, you used to write rhymes. Do you think it would be hard to make that shift from I'm talking about killing people to I'm just wondering as an MC because I'm just like it's almost like I'm a writer. But I think if you come at me and say, Kill, write a romantic comedy, I think I'm a damn good writer, but I don't know if I could write a romantic comedy.
Here's my question. Can you make an R&B track?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yes.
Okay,
because I listen to R&B. I love R&B.
So
why would it be different then? If you can do different stuff, but a lot of people know you for your hip hop shit. It doesn't mean you don't do R&B.
But I think the difference is we're talking about a person who's been raised in Queensbridge, who's around hood dudes all the time. Say he got his life together with God, or say he cheated on his wife and now his wife make him go to church. Whatever, he got to get his life together. Now this a whole new person. Like I don't know how to open up.
I think you don't have to go from a drug kingpin killer to Bishop Jakes. Exactly. It's a whole bunch in between that you could talk about.
But what would you talk about?
I mean, the state of the world. I mean,
talk about just being ill.
How you feel? How dope you are? Still braggadocious.
You could talk about the process of the change that you're going.
Yeah, I mean, think about you. When I was young, I was dumb, and I used to talk about this. Now I can see the error that way. I mean, I was about to say this as an analogy. Franklin Saint started off as a college guy. This is college guy who was selling a little weed with his uncle, and he learned the dope game, and he turned into a kingpin. So he wasn't still doing the same things that he did when he first got in the game. There was an evolution, a growth. There's an evolution and growth in every single one of us, and that's what I just want to see, some growth.
Yeah. Right, and I agree with you. I'm not debating that. I just think it's going to be a little bit harder because, like you said, there's a lot to talk about. But I'm wondering what, because Redman to me has never really been a topical rapper. It's I'm nice, I smoke weed, and I'm nice. After a while, that bored me. I need more than that. So that's why I'm saying, okay, you're not Pastor Jakes, you're not a gangster anymore. To me, the only thing to now talk about is what's going on in your life. So now you want me to talk about my marriage, you want me to talk about my kids, because like Phonte, you could do 2 songs about how nice you are. Cool. What are the other 13 songs going to be about?
Okay, so let's break down what Phonte talked about in the album.
All right. So
he talked about how he'll murder niggas. Tigolo to the rescue. He talked about expensive jeans. He talked about his dad dying. He talked about
So you're talking about health. You're talking about your dad dying. You're talking about your mom on cigarettes. You're talking about how to raise your sons.
Marrying his wife.
Now you're talking about getting remarried.
That's
his last song, he was just talking about dudes in the club spending, trying to keep up with a baller spending what they make in a week. I mean, so there are things. Go ahead, Ev.
But to me, it's still a reflection of his life.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's you talking about that one particular MC.
Oh, Ev, what would you talk about right now? What would you talk about? You're an MC. You drop. I get you $100,000 to do an album. What are you talking about? I would believe it'd be the same shit Tigolo talking about. You talking?
No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't. Within a quarter of the conflict, my mind raising bomb shit. Nonsense niggas not. I'm gonna tell you.
Who you talking about?
Within a quarter of the conflict, my mind raising bomb shit. Nonsense niggas not educated on rhyme shit. I like to line spit. Your modern day rhetoric, I'm light leaps ahead of it. My precedence is prevalent. Sin in its conspicuous uniform, adorned with the inscription reading masterful echelon. MC is how you greet me in human form. Melanin induced because I'm emphatically off the norm. I make sure everything remains raw. The master of winter seasons and laws of your fall. My life is the embodiment. I walk around society Dundee and change words into verses into verbs. So ain't nothing in there about selling no drugs. I ain't shot nobody. I ain't buried nobodies. I ain't did none of that shit.
And bruh, that's one verse. You still got, okay, and that's one song. What are the other 12 gonna be about?
I'm kind of lost on what you're talking about. That's one verse. So what you talking? I can't give you a whole album of things like that. I can't talk about putting my son in the car seat.
No. I can't give
you none of that.
No, you can, but that's the reflection of Phonte. You spit a verse right there. To me, that was a black.
But that's not a Phonte verse. I didn't talk about my marriage. I didn't talk about my dad being sick. I didn't talk about that.
You just said, "Can I rap about my son being in the car seat?"
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying you said what else?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
If you can get an album with every song that has a drug that is about selling drugs, why can't you get a song that every song is lyrical? Why does it have to? Why all of a sudden now that I'm doing something different, I gotta give you a smorgasbord of shit?
Because you know why?
You should give you the same shit every song, and you don't do nothing else.
Because we all have preferences. There are times when a movie comes out. Just listen. There's times when a movie comes out and Tanya says, "Hey, babe, you want to go see that?" And I say, "No, go with your friends." There are times when I say, "Hey, babe, you want to go see this new movie?" She says, "No, you can go see it with your friends." There are times when we see movies and we say, "Man, that looks good. Let's go see it together." So
you're not doing that with Pusha T.
So tight. You gotta get the paper.
All right, come on.
We gotta get the paper. What I'm saying is that there are people who think Black Thought is number one. Why? Because they don't care about storytelling. They want somebody to spit rapid fire, 100 bars a minute, and there's nothing wrong.
He ain't killing nobody. He ain't selling no drugs.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I don't want that. I don't
listen, but that's the thing. That's the point I'm trying to make. You don't want that from Black Thought. But
I don't want that from nobody.
Let me finish now. I got the right thing. Right. But now, when it comes to Pusha T, you're okay with having that shit for every single fucking song.
Right.
That's no.
So okay.
But here's the crazy part. All right, Vern, I'm gonna get to you. Yeah. I don't understand why this sounds so crazy. Because number one, let's start right here. Every single human being has a preference.
For sure.
My wife, hold tight. My wife don't look like Rex's wife. They don't look like your wife. They don't look like Vern's wife. We all have a different preference. Don't get shit on me for liking drug music. That's cool.
No, I don't.
It's not about that.
But what I'm saying is that's my preference.
No, my only question to you, Kill, is why is it when we talk about MCs doing something that's not drug related, where they have to give you something different every track, where you don't look for that same thing when you're talking about MCs who are drug related, you're okay with them giving you the same thing every song. I'm just saying that's possible.
I don't want spitting on every track. When I listen to,
you're okay with drugs on every track.
Would you say?
But you're okay with drugs on every track.
Yes.
So that's where the conversation stops. Because
you like thick women. I don't understand why you don't like the skinny woman. You like thick women.
No, it's not even that. My thing is like, if in order for somebody to do something different, they got to give you more. Unless you're talking about drugs. Unless you're talking about drugs on every track. If you're not talking about drugs on every track, if you're doing something different, you got to give me a diversity of shit. Or I'm going to lose interest.
So how many albums?
You just like drugs.
Hey, Kill, how many albums by Common did you like?
All of them, probably except. Oh, let me put my parentheses.
You ain't like Universal Circus.
Resurrection, from Resurrection to Like Water for Chocolate, and then after that, Travesty. So and then another parentheses from B. We doing algebra now. Now we got B to probably Finding Forever. So that was that.
So my point being, Common ain't Fonte, and he ain't Pusha T.
Nope.
He talked about a whole bunch of different things.
Right.
Some stories, some spitting, some true to life, some babies being born. He talked about a whole bunch of stuff. More of us are like him than that extreme to the far left and that extreme to the far right. So to me, there's an audience, a whole bunch of people can relate to that if you give us the chance. Pusha could do that. I know he can.
But and here's the thing, and I apologize. Maybe I haven't said what I've said right. What I'm saying is, when I was asking you all, what would an MC that's 45 talk about? That's why I was saying, I'm with I love the Fonte balance of that album, because to me, it was a reflection of him, but it's still a reminder, I will murder you, nigga. Similar to Royce's album, The Book of Ryan. He had songs that were straight rapid fire. Don't get this twisted. I will murder you, but I'm gonna talk about my father being on cocaine. I'm gonna talk about Pablo boats and me having sex for the first time. And those are two of my favorite albums of the past 5 years. They're both.
So you a Pharoah fan? Pharoah don't talk about his family like that.
No, I agree 100%. But what I guess I'm just asking is that what would an MC? I don't know what else I would expect from an MC to talk about. Vern, you said it perfectly. Common, just a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? That's all I was saying is, what are you going to talk about on your album?
But you don't ask those same questions to the drug-related MCs. You okay with them just serving you up a pound of coke for every person? But you just like drugs, Kill. You just like the drug world. It's cool. You like Scarface. You want this, you know what I mean? You got your fucking Tech Nine somewhere. You can pull that shit out. Sell this weight. It's cool. But just say that though.
No, I do like drug rap. We did the show on, I don't remember who was on it, but we did the show where there are 5 rap concerts in your town. There is the Lyrical Miracle concert with Razzcast and for sure.
I don't agree with this. Here you come with the incense shit. I can feel it. Go ahead. You gonna say it?
Oh yeah. Then you got the Howard University crowd. You got the tea. You want tea at the door. There's no alcohol. It's just tea and incense, and that's gonna be the Motion to Live crowd. Then you're gonna have the drug dealers.
The Motion to Live crowd. Like these motherfuckers just sitting around drinking tea.
Not no dance floor, it's a rug. You know what I mean? Erica Badu is in there rubbing some pregnant woman giving birth stomach while Common is doing poetry.
You know what? You're an habitual line crosser.
And then you're gonna have a drug dealer portion of the show where Pusha and Benny and them are gonna be at.
Somebody gonna get robbed.
That's the show that I'm gonna be. Hey, I've been to every Griselda show and
get shot.
Zero violence. Now one person has got robbed.
Listen, I've been to a lot of Most Def and Talib shows. I ain't seen no incense. Ain't nobody gave me no tea. I ain't seen no babies getting born. I didn't see no
You're right.
therapy happening.
And I have no problem saying that I do prefer gangster rap. I do enjoy it. I love Fonte just as much. I love Royce just as much. I'm just always thinking it must be. And you know what, Ev? You said it yourself. A real MC can do it. Because when you look at Royce being around since 99 to make this type of album, you know, almost 20 years later since he's been around, that shows his growth as an MC. That his pen is not scared to talk about things and open up. You know what I mean? He didn't have to talk about going to prison for drunk driving, which he talked about. He didn't have to talk about all the things that were going on with his life with him and his wife and, you know, how, you know, his son being born and that whole drama, his grandmother dying and his son being born in the same hospital on 2 different floors. He chose to do that. You know what I mean? So I'm just wondering, and like I said, just you being an MC, is it harder? Or is it easy to do that? I've always wondered. Thought has an incredible story about his life growing up in Philly. And again, what zoomed me in on Thought's shortcoming was Fonte and Royce's album. Because it was like Stream of Thoughts 1 came out, Royce and Fonte came out. And I listened to Royce and I was like, wow, that's an incredible album. The growth as an MC. And he's talking about all this good stuff. Listen to Fonte, the growth as an MC. Look and talk about all this good stuff. Put on Stream of Thoughts. Nigga just went straight from Hot 97 and just kept on going. Just spitting.
That's who he is.
Rapid fire. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm just wondering why. But to me, it's a shortcoming because I'm seeing 2 other MCs that have grown.
I understand that. You're saying Thought hasn't grown from just being an MC.
Doing the same thing that you were giving me in 1993 at Morgan State University. You know what I mean? So the same way that I don't have a problem with the drug dealers still talking about drugs 20 years later, but y'all do, is the same reason why I have a problem with a spitter spitting the same stuff that y'all don't have a problem with.
No, I don't have a problem with it.
One is technique. Or I don't know if it's technique, but one is not subject matter. I don't know if technique is the right word. But you're talking about subject matter, you're talking about like Thought is a spitter. That's what he does.
Right. And that's what showed me. That highlighted. If those 3 albums didn't come out at the same time, I probably would have never put 2 and 2 together like that. Like, I mean, I always said Thought don't tell stories. But I think those 2 albums coming out, and all 3 of them, we're talking about 3 of the most incredible MCs ever, in my opinion. Fonte, Black Thought, Royce the 5'9".
Well, I have to add something to that. You're talking about Royce the 5'9" and Fonte. You're talking about 2 MCs who basically have always talked about their life story.
Not Royce. Not Royce. Royce was a rah-rah nigga. Royce got videos with bazookas and shit, like stuff like that. So
you're saying this last Royce album, he just started talking about his life story? Because
really after the Prime album, once he got out of jail and he got sober, his content started to change.
His content changed. So Royce actually made the shift and made that change to talk. Right. He talked more about his personal life.
Like all that stuff that we was talking about when you was like, Royce giving me too much, like he becoming Joe Budden.
Royce.
That wasn't Royce. That wasn't drunk Royce.
Okay.
Drunk Royce and sober Royce.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sober Royce better because I see the growth in sober Royce.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just wondering how hard was it for him to change from just being lyrical miracle, I'm the best rapper, I could beat you, lyrically miracle, I'm a battle rapper, to now switching to now I can tell you stories. Like, is that a hard shift to go from?
Oh, I can see that being, if you're changing that kind of thing, I can see that being a little bit more difficult because now your penmanship is more introspective. So you're talking about, instead of talking about like what's in the forefront of your mind, so it's talking about like, yo, this is who I am, this is what I do. You're talking about, well, this is what I've been through.
Right.
So, I mean, for some people, and I know what I've heard about Thought, I don't know the brother personally, but what I've heard is he doesn't like talking about his personal life because the shit was so tragic. So that's another thing. Every MC is not going to be open to give you the book on their life because
but then you talk about it in interview. How do I know about Thought's life if he never talked about it? Because he has talked about it. He doesn't talk about it in the music, but he's talked about it. The interview he did with somebody right before Stream of Thoughts, the first one came out, he talked about his mother. He talked about his dad.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you talking about he talked about that now because one Stream of Thought is coming out, but Thought has been out since the early 90s.
Well, I knew about that shit before, and I don't know.
Not through an interview, through somebody that you knew that knew him. You never did no interviews about his personal life before.
All right.
He never did that before. That wasn't.
He's talking about it now. Why not rap about it? You know how I relate that to? I relate that to a lot of Christian artists because this is what happens. Donnie McClurkin has never mentioned anything about ever being molested in his music, ever. But he'll go on BET and do a special about it. And
so because he talks about it, so he should actually make music about it.
My belief.
I mean, how come I can't get a middle school girl track from you then?
A middle school? What's a middle school girl?
What grade is Nay in?
Nay.
How come I can't get music from you that sounds like that?
Like
you talk about Nay. You put her. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about from Nay's perspective, being the age that she is and the grade that she is. You talk about her, but you don't make no music about her. You don't. Your beats don't reflect that.
I don't rap. I wish I could rap. I would rap.
I'm talking about musically. Your music doesn't reflect that. You don't make no tracks that sound like some eighth grade person get on it and do some kitty hop shit.
You mean like trap? Why don't I make trap?
Yeah, exactly. How come you don't make music like that?
I don't know how to be honest with you.
That's my point. Maybe everybody doesn't necessarily know how to make that shit.
But that's what I was saying. Isn't that hard? That was my original question. Isn't that hard? Yeah. Is that hard to make that shift for somebody to go?
Or maybe people just don't want to.
I think they don't want to, and they're scared because
everybody wants everybody in their personal life like that. I just think that's like, sometimes it's easier to talk about, how I can talk about the pen without talking about myself. A lot of MCs don't necessarily talk about themselves. Most of them don't.
What were you gonna say, Brian? I'm sorry.
I think they're scared, and most of them don't. But I still think even that's so much to talk about that you don't have to talk about yourself. I mean,
just throw me some topics, y'all. Just throw me some topics. If you want to talk about politics, I'm the first person to say. Somebody invited me on their podcast. They said we talk about hip hop and politics. I said, sorry, I don't know nothing about politics, so I can't talk about because here's the thing: if I'm an MC, I want to talk about it intelligently. If I go on your podcast, I want to have an intelligent conversation with you, which is why a lot of people say, "Kill, I can't come on your podcast. Y'all know too much about hip hop. I'd be blown away." So I can't rap intelligently about politics because I really don't keep up with it. I mean, I could kind of touch on Black Lives Matter, but let me keep it funky with y'all. I'm not on CNN every day. I can't name you probably 5 people who've been killed by the cops. I'll probably start messing up names. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what
does Skyzoo talk about in the album that you love so much?
To me, and matter of fact, I forgot we got the rest of the albums. That was one of the albums I was going to talk about. To me, what I love about the album is I really get the love letter to New York, like on Glorious. He has this line where he says, "Shout to all the crackheads, my block and all the fiends that be across it, and the new Goldilocks bitches screaming over porridge." That's the talk to me, Ev. I'm losing my words. I'm getting old. White folk moving out black folk. Gentrification. Talk about gentrification. On 10 Days, he's giving you the outlook of what the drug dealing scene was like in New York City back in the day. On Penny's jersey, he's talking about like, when he used to rock the Penny Hardaway jerseys, and he had the blue one, and he had USA one, and how he came out on his block. And one time so to me, it's literally like an open love letter to New York. Truck jewels. He's talking about the truck jewelries that people used to make. Carry the tradition. Him and Styles are going about the New York. Styles says something like blue, hat with the 2 letters on the front. Like it's like I was telling Ev, it's New York boom bap. Like it literally, I feel like it's a love letter and a wake up call to the city. So to me, he's talking about his son. He's talking about Miles. My son used the potty, so he's older now. Huey Newton, Fred Hampton, I'm a mold him now. So he's talked like it's a concept album to me about to New York City, which reflects to me in Philly because same gentrification is going on in Philly, Chicago, I'm sure Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
all those places.
What does Kendrick talk about?
Well, To Pimp a Butterfly to me was an amazing album. Me and Evan talked about that for hours.
Yeah.
Even the joint, the first one, Good Kid, Mad City. I loved it because it was a day in the life of a kid in Compton. It was like you wake up, you put it on, you hear people praying, and you like, okay, what's going on? Now they go to their friend's house. We robbing this house. Yo, K-Dot, I got a freestyle. Same thing, just like with Royce and Fonte. Like, here's a song, backseat freestyle, just to show y'all I can spit. But then I'm gonna get back into Sherane, and I'm trying to bang her, and then somebody gets shot, then somebody gets saved. It's like a day in Compton. So those are the albums that I love the most, where it's like a concept behind them. Like, but I know most MCs, but I would assume that that's very hard to do. Or maybe that's the different ebb between an MC and a rapper. I don't know the technical boundaries of that, but everybody is not going to be able to do a Good Kid, Mad City. Everybody is definitely not going to be able to do a To Pimp a Butterfly.
I think more people can do it if they.
You said if they what?
If they did it.
If they tried?
Yeah, if they just did it. I mean, if you dope, you dope. And I mean, you can talk about anything and make it dope, because that's KRS-One could get up and freestyle about anything, and he would hold your attention because he's a master at putting words together. Jay-Z to me is a wordsmith. I'm probably one of the rare people. I was at a different phase of my life when Reasonable Doubt and all that stuff came up. Black Album is my favorite album.
I'm right with you, Vern. I'm not a Jay-Z fan. I didn't fuck with Reasonable Doubt like that. Black Album is my shit. That's actually one of my albums. The Black album.
It's intelligent. He's talking about different things from an intelligent perspective. He ain't Kingpin and all on it. He's talking about all kind of stuff. What more can I say? This is what I did. Blah blah blah. Lucifer. He talking about killing somebody in that. It's a whole bunch of stuff, man. Read books, watch movies. There's a bunch of stuff for people to talk about.
But Vern, that's where it would start with, because you may have to teach this MC how to like that would be the key thing, Vern. You just said it. Read a book. Like, Kill, you want to grow up and be a better rapper? Here, read this book. You know what I mean? Hey, Kill, watch CNN every day. Like, you'd have to make, some people may need homework. Like, Rec is a dope DJ, but I may say, Rec, do this scratch. He may not know how to. So just because you're a dope MC doesn't mean you're going to be able to talk about every topic. Just because he's a dope DJ doesn't mean he's going to be able to do every Qbert scratch in the book. Like,
but you can't be dope.
He can do his own version of it.
If you're talking about one thing, you got to be more versed. If you're dope, brother, come on.
I agree. I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree that, yes, Pusha should talk about more. I agree.
He should. I'm just saying he can.
He can. That's all I'm saying. He can.
But I'm just saying that it's hard to sit back and just say, if you dope, you could do everything, because that's not true. Like,
I feel like if you are dope, you actually can. I feel like you can give a scratch to Rec, and he may not do a Qbert way, but he's gonna do it Rec way, and that's just gonna be banging.
But it may take some research. Somebody who writes these, like a romantic comedy, like if somebody who writes romantic comedies and you say, yo, write a dramatic, suspense movie.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is going to happen off.
He may not just be able to be like,
I'm not saying it's like snap your finger and it's done. But I don't necessarily want to say that it's such a difficult process either, because it's a
difficult process. Marriage. You know why? Because your marriage is a difficult process. It's a reason why a lot of people get divorced, because you have to be willing to change and grow and move different places. That is not an easy thing.
Kill, you're talking about something that's alien now. You're bringing an alien theme to this conversation.
Not an alien. What I'm just saying,
I'm doing it because it's alien.
No, what I'm saying is this: just because you're a dope dad, just because you're a dope husband, doesn't mean you're gonna be a dope dad. Like, somebody can sit back and say, yo, Kill, you dope as shit every day on Twitter. Kill, you do this for the kids, you do that, you dope, you dope, you dope. That don't mean I'm gonna be a dope husband. That don't mean I'm a dope son to my mother. That don't mean I'm gonna be a dope dad.
That's different crafts. We're talking about different crafts now. One is a husband, one is a father. That's not the same craft.
I mean, it's being a person.
No, it's still a different.
Okay, well, you know what? We could just stick on marriage. You have to change. You have to learn. Let's talk about that. If you're a good husband in this one marriage, and you get into another marriage, all of a sudden you're not going to be a good husband anymore. I don't know. What did you bring in from the old marriage?
Were you a good husband in the old marriage? It doesn't matter. Were you good?
I mean, for that woman.
Right.
Every woman wants something.
So is that what made you good? Because so what makes a good husband then we have to get down. Are you good because you're able to adjust to your mate? You're able to figure out how to like fill in blank space. So if you want to do that, why can't you do it for another marriage?
All I'm saying is I can't bring to the new marriage what I had in the last marriage.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what made you good.
Wife 2 likes.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying whatever made you good in that marriage,
right?
Those attributes you take to the next marriage. I'm saying the same thing for MC. Whatever makes you dope as an MC, you can do anything else and those same attributes and still be just as dope.
Okay. Why do you think more MCs don't do it then? Because the numbers.
Fear
numbers and record sales, and at this time, who knows? But then again, I don't know. I'm not those MCs. I don't know why they don't do it, and I feel like some of them do it, but then it gets thrown underneath the they don't get the same kind of recognition.
I mean, you ain't selling anyway. Why not try something?
Why not? You ain't selling anyway. You ain't making nothing off a record. You're making nothing.
Again, I agree with you 100%. I'm still stuck on stupid why people are still trying to say. And that's what makes me believe that it's harder than what y'all are saying it probably is. Because I would just think common sense. Somewhere, sometime you'd be like, I don't have a label telling me
my computer's about to die, yo.
All right. Give them all the information. Give them all your
names. Look for 7 names. We got a project coming out. It's a theater piece talking about the journey of MCs called A Prophet's Tale. It's still in the works. Look for it next year. And find me on Twitter. Sometimes I'm on there, sometimes I'm not. Instagram, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. Oh no.
Sometimes around slow, sometimes around quick.
And Porsche had a Twitter poll about who could get under my skin more, you or Bezo, and Bezo
went. Yeah,
man, Bezo had me sweating up in his mug, man.
Back for a show though. I need to stop threatening. Bring my man back for Cameo Parents. We need that. We need that conversation.
Kill, is that what you spin around in the chair?
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. That's what we was reviewing the Nas album. Yes. And the wildest part is me and Bezo argued for an hour and a half, and both give it 4 mics. We done argued for 2 hours and gave it the same exact rating. Like, bruh, that's just Bezo. All right, good brother. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
Brett, give him all the info, good brother.
Oh man, at DJ Rack 1 on Twitter and same on Instagram, man.
All right, Bird, give them all the info, good brother, where they could get a house when they need that loan, who to come to see.
Instagram at V the Loan Closer, Twitter at V Chandler 10.
All right, and you already know what it is with me, Kill 889, Instagram, Twitter. Yo, I got a problem, man. I like crack music, man.
You be calling me, man. They be calling me. Scotty, help.
We talked about about needing help. I need to admit it. Fine. I like crack music, and I don't know what to do, man. I don't know how to change.
That's the first step, man. Admitting you got a problem.
That's the first step. Admitting I got a problem. I think I need to stop listening to the plugs I met. I need to put away Tana Talk. And I definitely need to put away Daytona for a while.
Man, you got to start weaning yourself, man. Don't try to do cold turkey.
Here's the good thing, man. Little Brother is coming to the Howard in 2 weeks. That's going to be my start. You know what I mean? That's going to be my start point right there. Little Brother comes. Then the Retropolitan Tour, I think, is the week after that with Skyzoo and Elzai. And then Most is coming to the Howard in November.
Okay.
That is a good...
It's gonna be incense.
We're gonna give you a drug wrap patch. You're gonna put it right there.
I'm gonna have some herbal tea with me for the Most show. I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna come with my khakis on. We gonna have a good time. Appreciate the hell out of y'all, man. I'm gonna check y'all next week, y'all.
I got a confession to make, Q, when you get off.
All right, we almost off right now.